Good morning everyone. Welcome to the YouTube channel of Little Flower School Rapti Nagar. I am Amit Kumar, your computer science teacher, and this video lecture is first video lecture of class 11th A and 11th B. So in today's video lecture, we are going to discuss about your syllabus and of course about numbers. But before we proceed, let me first welcome you all in your new session, and my best wishes are with you for your this session. So first of all, let me tell you, like, computer science is actually bit different from computer applications. So up to class 10th, what you were studying was computer application, and in class 11th and 12th you are going to study computer science. In computer science, there are few topics which are not related to programming, actually which are not programming, they are related to programming somehow, but there are few calculations over there. So let me tell you, if you are only thinking that we are only going to learn programming in 11th and 12th, so let me tell you, you are going to learn programming, but it's going to be 70% of your syllabus, or you can say 65 or 60% of your syllabus. The rest will be some computer science topics which are very interesting and very useful for you in your upcoming career if you are going to choose computer as your career. So let's see the syllabus. You can see on your screen, like, your paper, your whole paper of 100 marks is actually divided into two parts, or two paper would be there, where the first paper would be theory paper of 70 marks and second paper would be practical paper of 30 marks. Now in this 70 marks paper, we will discuss about the practical paper later on. In this 70 marks paper, what are the various topics that you are going to study in this whole session? So before I move on to that, this 70 marks paper itself is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 is of 20 marks and all the questions in part 1 is compulsory. So you have to attempt this part 1 of 20 marks. From part 2, which is of 50 marks, actually there would be three different sections: section A, section B and section C. Now each section will contain three questions. Out of these three questions, you have to attempt any two. Okay, section A and section B, each question will be of 10 marks, right? So that makes 40 marks. And section C, each question will be of 5 marks, so you will attempt 2, so that will make 10 marks. So 40 plus 10, 50 marks. So part 2 of your paper containing section A, B and C will be of 50 marks, and part 1 of your paper, which is compulsory part, will be of 20 marks. Now let's see what are the various chapters and topics that we are going to study this year. So your syllabus itself is divided into different sections, where section A, in the first section A is actually basic computer hardware and software, and in section A the first chapter itself is numbers, and we are going to introduce you today that chapter. So it is numbers, in which we are going to study about different bases, how we are going to represent different numbers in different bases, how we are going to convert one number from a certain number from one base to another base. So all these things you are going to study in this particular chapter. It's very important, not only for your computer science perspective, but also some way related to your programming as well. So of course in this chapter itself, we are going to study about binary, octal, decimal and hexadecimal number system, and of course we are going to perform addition and subtraction operation on different bases. We are going to study in chapter 2 encodings. Encoding technique is actually a technique in which normal characters or normal letters that we use are represented in system in terms of binary numbers. So there are different encoding techniques which we are going to study, and among these encoding techniques there are few, like integer representation and sign magnitude representation, 2's complement representation for negative numbers, floating point representation. So we are going to study all these representations, and of course some encoding techniques like ASCII and ISCII, along with Unicode, which is your Java's encoding technique. So that would be part of your second chapter. Chapter 3 is not only important for your 11th class but also important for your 12th class. It will form a base for your class 12th. So the third chapter is propositional logic, hardware implementation and arithmetic operation. Here you are going to study about propositions, various types of operators and connectives that you are going to use with these propositions, some Boolean laws, some Boolean gates as well. So when you are going to study them, you are going to understand it. It's very easy and it's very marks gaining as well. This will mark the end of your section A. So there would be 3 chapters in section A, and all 3 of them is not related to your programming, as I told you. Now from section B onwards our programming starts. Chapter 4 discusses about object oriented programming. So in chapter 4 we are going to introduce one more time object oriented programming, definitely in much deeper sense. We are going to study about objects, where we are going to study about data, and data which is represented as attribute, and behavior. We are going to differentiate between objects and classes and various other theoretical aspects related to it. We are going to see BlueJ, of course, which is part of our syllabus, and we are going to use BlueJ throughout the year. But I am also going to tell you how you can run your Java programs in the JDK environment, so that without BlueJ IDE also you can run your Java programs. We are going to study about, okay, one more IDE is there, Greenfoot. If you want to know about it, I will show you the interface somehow. Okay, we are going to analyze real world examples with programming. We are going to study some basic concepts of virtual machine, the JVM, the Java virtual machine, the compilation process, and how we are going to execute Java programs. Of course, we are going to study about exceptions, some keywords related to exceptions like try, catch, throw, throws, finally. So these were the topics that we are going to study in the objects chapter. Then the chapter comes primitive values, wrapper classes, types and casting, where we are going to study about primitive data types, reference data types. We are going to study about wrapper classes, boxing, unboxing, auto boxing, and here we are also going to study about typecasting and how typecasting occurs. The 7th chapter actually deals with variables and different expressions that we can use with the variables. So here, of course, we are going to see some operators as well, and we are going to form different expressions with the help of those operators. We are going to study about variables, and we are going to differentiate between primitive values and object values. Okay, there is a note over there, like library functions for solving expressions may be used as and when required. Okay, so if it is required to use any library function, we are going to study about that as well. Then the chapter 8 is there, which is related to statements and scope, where we are going to study about different types of statements with different type of control structures, like if else statement, if else if statement, switch case, ternary operator, looping with while, do while, for, continue and break, grouping statements, making a block, scope and visibility of variables. So all these topics are there under this chapter. In chapter 9, which is methods and constructors, there we are going to study about methods and constructors, which we actually learned in class 10th as well, but definitely here we are going to study some more depth about the topic itself. Okay, so we are going to perform some complex operations. We are going to study about static methods, static definition, this operator, new operator or new keyword. So we are going to study about all these things related to methods and constructors under chapter 9. Chapter 10, which is very important for your programming perspective, because most of the questions are going to come from arrays and strings. So here we are going to perform some of the basic operations on single dimension and 2D array, and of course some of the operations on strings, and we are going to study some of the functions. Of course we are going to study some more functions. In class 10th you have studied some functions of string and you have used those methods and functions as well. Here in class 11th you are going to study some more methods of string class, and one more class you are going to study related to string. So that would be really fun. In section C, we are going to perform file handling, first time in our Java programming career. So we have not performed file handling till now, so this is going to be very interesting and very new chapter for you. So with the help of this chapter, you would be able to store your values and retain the values even when the program is turned off, even when the system is turned off. You can turn on your system again and get back the previous values of the program. So this is very interesting thing, and you can be able to create a simple project or a program afterwards doing file handling. So we are going to perform both kind of file handling, that is string file handling as well as binary file handling. And then comes very interesting and bit confusing chapter, recursion. Generally we get afraid of the topic itself. I would try to explain you in a very simpler manner. Recursion is related to method, and there we are going to perform recursion for basic operations. Again a chapter which will form base for class 12th, because in class 12th you are going to perform recursion, and there is a 10 marks question in your board examination related to recursion. It can be a 15 marks depending upon your luck. So the 13th chapter, actually this is the chapter which I am going to start before starting programming, the chapter related to algorithm. So I know some of you might have studied about algorithm in your junior classes. Here we will study algorithm and flowchart again, because it is very important for your practical perspective. When I will explain you about your practical exam syllabus, then you will realize how much important this algorithm is. So this is very important for your practical exam. You have to create a algorithm in your practical exam, and I will explain you in this chapter itself that how to form an algorithm. Algorithm is very important for forming logic. Some of the students lack logic while they perform programming. So when you will study this chapter, I guarantee you that you are going to build up your logic for your programming. Next chapter is packages. Here we are going to form packages. The programs, though we have studied about packages in class 10th, I think. Yes, first time we have studied about packages in class 10th. Though you are using packages the very first day when you learned how to program in Java. But now we are going to form our own package. Okay, we are going to create our own package. We are going to keep classes and various other things into it. In class 12th you will study about interfaces as well. So in these packages you can keep those interfaces as well. The next chapter is a bit heretical chapter, as related like one of the chapter in your class 9th which you have studied related to computing ethics. Here also we are going to study some ethical issues, but we are going to study some of the topics which are very booming topic in computer industry, like artificial intelligence. We are going to study about cyber security, and of course we are going to study about open source software, licensing, GPL, and various other things. So these were the 15 chapters which you are going to study in your 11th class session. Your book will be Sumita Arora book, so the same Dhanpat Rai publication book, and in your class 11th and 12th you are going to follow the same book. Most probably in the next video lecture I am going to show you that book and various chapters in it, but I have explained you all the chapters that we are going to study in class 11th session. Of course, the objective of that specific chapter I will tell in that specific video lecture in which I will start the chapter itself. So let's see the practical exam marks. Okay, so the 30 marks of practical examination, how you are going to do that. So your practical exam will be of 2 parts. Okay, the whole exam will be in 2 parts. That will be 2 sessions of exams known as planning session and examination session. Your practical exam will also be of 3 hours. So in those 3 hours or 180 minutes, first 90 minutes is given to your planning session. The last 90 minutes is given for your examination session. So in your planning session, there will be 3 questions given in your practical exam related to programming only. There will be 3 programs. Out of those 3 programs, you have to opt, or you have to choose any one. And that program only you have to perform in your whole examination. First of all, you have to write down the algorithm that you will, or the logic actually. So you have to write down the logic in form of an algorithm, and then you have to write down the whole program. So this you have to do in the planning session. Then the examination session will start. You cannot start your examination session until unless planning session is over. So after your planning session, you will write down the whole code in your computer system, and then you have to run that program for the sample output that is given in the question itself, and for some random outputs, okay, which can be given by the examiner. If your program is running successfully for both of them, then you have to take out a printout, and you have to pin up, or you have to attach the printout or the hard copy of your program and the output along with the examination sheet that you have written in the planning session. Now this will be submitted to the examiner. This is how your practical exam is going to take place. Now in your practical exam, how the marks are distributed, the 10 marks, how they are distributed. So before I tell you that, let me tell you, for a practical, you have to create a practical file for this session, in which you will make at least 20 programs, which I will provide to you throughout the session. Along with that, you have to create one project. So there would be different topics for the project, so you have to choose any one of the topic. I will allot you that, and you have to create one project as well. So how the evaluation is going to take place? So the 30 marks is divided into 15-15, where the first 15 marks is for continuous evaluation and next 15 marks is for terminal evaluation. Now what is your continuous evaluation? It is depending upon the practical file that you will make and the project that you will make. So the programming assignment done throughout the year, 10 marks on that, and 5 marks on the project work. Now your terminal evaluation, 15 marks is given for the solution of the programming. Right, so the solution that you are going to submit, your 15 marks is on that. And out of those 15 marks, some marks is allotted for your algorithm, some marks is allotted for your program, some marks is allotted for the output, some marks is allotted for the comments that you will make in the program. So the 15 marks is actually divided. So that's why I told you the algorithm part, that's very important chapter. You have to study it very thoroughly. Your practical marks is actually based on it. So that was your syllabus in class 11th, okay, and how your examination is going to take place and how much marks is allotted for what. Now the first chapter we are going to start today. The chapter itself is numbers. So before I start the chapter, let's see the objective of the chapter. So it will be in front of you right now. So in this specific chapter, we are going to representation of numbers in different bases, which will be binary, octal, decimal and hexadecimal, and we also have to learn the interconversion between them. Then we have to learn the addition and subtraction operation for numbers in different bases. So the main objective of this specific chapter is to introduce the positional system of representing numbers and the concept of a base, discuss the conversion of representation between different bases using English or pseudocode. Now here we will explain you the algorithm, the steps to convert numbers. So that will be in form of pseudocode. Well, I will explain you when it will come. Or algorithms and different functions in class modeling numbers when programming is discussed. For addition and subtraction, 1's complement and 2's complement, we have to perform, use the analogy with decimal numbers, emphasize how carry works and all that. So this will be objective of this specific chapter, numbers. And from this chapter, I am going to discuss few things today in today's video lecture. And from your next video lecture, we are going to continue your syllabus in a normal manner. One more thing I want to tell you before I start this chapter. See, in the next video lecture, I will provide you a link over there. You can see the comments are off for this specific video, even for all the videos which you go through. So this is because of the comments that you generally make over there, meaningless comments generally made. So that's why comments are off. So how you are going to raise your queries? So I will provide you a Google form for that, which I have given to class 12th as well. Though only few of the students, only 8 or 9 students have utilized that. And we have made one doubt lecture also for whatsoever doubts have been raised by them. So I will provide you a Google form and the link will be given in the description. So from there you can go to the Google form along with your Gmail ID. You have to log in with your Gmail ID, then only you can enter that form. So we will not save your Gmail ID, don't worry. You can raise your queries over there and even you can upload some screenshots or some kind of photos if you want to upload for explaining me the query. You can raise your queries over there, and once 4, 5 or 10 queries are raised over there, I am going to make one lecture on your doubts as well. So please utilize this facility very carefully, very sensibly, so that it can benefit for your studies. Now student, the topic numbers. So let's see what are numbers. Well, we know numbers are used for countings, right? Like we use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whenever we used to count in our real life. But how do these numbers are formed? So numbers are formed with help of symbols or digits, right? Like in our mathematics, all the numbers that are formed are because of those 10 digits from 0 to 9. So with the help of these 10 digits, we can form any number in mathematics, right? So any numbers can be formed with the help of some digits. Now the total available number of digits in any system is known as a base of the system. So what is number system? Number system is actually a systematic way of representing numbers with help of digits, and when these digits are arranged according to some certain rules. So when the digits are arranged according to some certain rules, then so when the digits are arranged according to some certain rules, then numbers are formed. So whenever we are working with a given set of digits, we are working in a specific number system. So there are different number systems. In different number systems, different number of digits are available. So always number of digits are fixed. But the numbers that we can form from them are infinite. So there are finite number of digits, and with the help of these finite digits, we can form infinite number of numbers. So I will explain you that in today's lecture itself, don't worry. So normally we are familiar with 10 digits, 0 to 9, and this is a number system known as decimal number system. So there are 10 digits, hence the name is decimal number system. In computers, you work with 2 digits, 0 and 1. So they belongs to binary number system. Okay. Similarly, there is a set of digits from 0 to 7. So how many digits are there? 8. So there is a system in which 8 digits are used to form numbers, and that number system is known as octal number system. And there is a number system in which not only digits but also some alphabets are used, and there are total 16 digits or 16 symbols that are used, and that number system is known as hexadecimal number system. So in this chapter numbers, we are going to study each and every number system over there. So let's see a number system, and let's see how numbers are formed. Okay, and the rest of the thing we are going to discuss in the next video lecture. Okay, so let's see the number system that we are familiar with, decimal number system. So in decimal number system, there are 10 digits, okay, and they are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now can you tell me the smallest digit? Yes, 0. And the largest digit? 9. So the smallest digit is 0, the largest digit is 9. So in any number system, there will be some set of digits, and there will be a smallest digit and a largest digit. So I am just telling you how numbers are formed. So we start forming numbers starting from the smallest digit till the largest digit. We write them down in increasing order. So we will start from 0. So it will be like this. We know 0 has no meaning, so in counting we don't use it. So let it be 8 and 9. And hence we have written all the digits. So now digits are over. So what would be the next number? So the next number, to form the next number, we will increase the number of digits. So how many number of digits are there? 1. So then, because I have written all the digits, so all possible formation of the numbers are there. So now what we are going to do, we are going to increase the number of digits. So now till now we were working with 1, now we will work with 2 digits. So how we will form numbers now? We will write the first digit, because we have already worked with 0. How is it possible? Because actually 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4, okay, it means 1, 2, 3, 4 only. So 0 has no meaning before it. So now we will form numbers starting with 1. Okay, so we will form number with 1, and all the digits are repeated with 1. So 1, 0, then the next digit 1, 1, then the next digit 1, 2, and up to 1, 9. So we have repeated all the digits with 1. Now what we will do? We will repeat all the digits with 2. So starting from 2, 0 up to 2, 9. So 2, 0 up to 2, 9. Then we will repeat with 3. So from 3, 0 up to 3, 9. And we will keep on doing it until unless we will reach 9, 9. So up to 9, 9, what will be the situation? Up to 9, 9, we have repeated all the digits with all the digits. Okay, like all the digits are repeated with 1, all the digits are repeated with 2, all the digits are repeated with 3, and similarly all the digits are repeated with 9. And now we are not left with any digit to repeat with. So what we will do? So that will mark the end of 2-digit numbers. As like 9 was the marking of single digit number, similarly 99 is the marking of end of 2-digit number. So now we will start forming 3-digit number. So we will write 1, 0, and we will repeat from 0 to 9. So 1, 0, 9. And then what we will do? We will change 0 to 1. So 1, 1, 0, and then with 1, 1 we will go up to 1, 1, 9. And then we will make it 1, 2. 0 to 1, 2, 9. And it will go on up to 1, 9, 9. Right? And then after 1 will change to 2, 0, 0. And it will keep on going. And what will be the last number of 3-digit numbers? 999. And then after it will be a 4-digit number. So that's why I am telling you, with fixed digits we can form, with finite digits we can form infinite numbers, because all that we need to do is increase the number of digits. Okay, so that's how numbers are formed in our normal mathematics. Let's see another number system, and let's see how numbers are formed in it. The next number system that we are going to see is binary number system. Okay, so let's see binary number system. So there are only 2 digits in binary number system. They are 0 and 1. So all the digits, all the numbers are formed with them only. So we will start from the smallest till the highest. Okay, it's over. Now 2-digit number. So that will be 1, 0 and 1, 1. It's over again. Now 3-digit number. So 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. So that marks the end of 3-digit number. So how we will come to know that it marks the end? So suppose we are working with single-digit number, we will reach the highest digit. So we reached 1. If we are working with 2-digit number, so both the digits should be 1, 1. So that will mark the end of 2-digit number. If we are working with 3-digit number, so 1, 1, 1 will mark the end of 3-digit number. So what will be the end of 4-digit number? 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's very simple, like in decimal. You are studying in mathematics also. So 9 marks the end of a certain number of digits. Like 9 marks the end of single digit number, 99 marks the end of 2-digit number, 999 marks the end of 3-digit number. Similarly here, 1 marks the end of single digit number, 1, 1 marks the end of 2-digit number, 1, 1, 1 marks the end of 3-digit number. And numbers are formed like that. And let me tell you, no one will read it as 100, 101, 110, 111. Okay, it's not decimal number system, it's binary number system. So other than decimal number system, everywhere you will read that digit itself, you will not spell the number. So that 1000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 1 crore, whatsoever you have studied in mathematics applies to decimal number system only. In rest of the number system, you will name each and every digit. Okay, so let's see octal number system. So in octal number system, 0 to 7. So how the numbers are formed? So of course we will not count 0. So we will start from 1, 5, 6, 7. And 7 is the largest digit. So 7 marks the end of single digit number. Now 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2 up to 1, 7. Now 2, 0 up to 27. Now this will go up to 77. I hope you understood. Now let's see the last number system, and then we will see the equivalent value among the different number systems. So let's see hexadecimal number system. What are the various digits in it? There are 16 digits, right? So what are the various digits? Let's see. In hexadecimal number system, the first 10 digits are 0 to 9. Okay, they are same. 7, 8, 9. And then after alphabets in English, D, E up to F. So these are the 16 symbols that are used. So how the counting will go? So from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to F. So after 9 it will start A, B, C, D up to F. And then after 1, 0, 1, 2 up to 1F. Okay, 2, 0, 2, 1, then 2, 9, then 2A, and it will go to 2F, and that will go to FF. That will be the last last 2-digit number. So similarly, any number is formed, and hence a finite number of digits forms infinite numbers. Now let's see the equivalent values of different number systems. Okay. So I am not going to tell much. I am going to tell the first 15 values only. First 16 values I should say. So first 16 values. So let's see. Let it be decimal. I don't know it's visible. Decimal, binary, okay, octal, and hexadecimal. I am writing down all the number system over here and writing down the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So first 16, right? So 0 is represented as 0. So 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, sorry, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, and 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now don't you worry how it is formed. If you don't remember, there is a trick over there how to form it. I will tell you about that trick. Don't you worry. I am just representing equivalent values right now. So in octal it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7. So that will be 8 and 8, 16. So first 15 only. Okay, we will represent that, and it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. You got that? So you can see different numbers over there. But you know, there are few numbers which is available in most of them. Let me tell you. 10 is available in decimal, which we called as 10. 10 is also available in binary. 10 is also available in octal, and okay, fine. If we will go beyond this, so 10 will be there as well. So how will come to know, like we are working with decimal or binary or octal or hexadecimal, and there comes the role of base or radix. I told you each number system has a fixed number of digits. That fixed number of digits is base of that number system. So can you tell me the base of decimal? Base of decimal is 10 because there are 10 digits. Base of binary is 2. Base of octal is 8. Base of hexadecimal is 16. So if we are representing any number, suppose I am representing 10 and I want to represent 10 in decimal, so how I will represent that? I will put a parenthesis and I will write actually the base of the number system, right? I will write the base or radix of the number system. So if I want to represent it in decimal, I will write 10. If I want to represent in binary, I will write 2. If I want to represent in octal, I will write 8. And if I want to represent in hexadecimal, I will write 16. So it depends on the base or the radix which I have written over there, that will tell me that to which number system this specific number belongs. Okay. And the last thing, the equivalent value. For example, what is the value of 10 in binary? So if you count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is actually in binary value of 10, 1, 0, 1, 0. Let's see what is in octal, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So in octal it is 1, 2. And let's see the value of 10 in hexadecimal, so it is A. Now of course, it is not possible for us every time to make that chart. Now of course it is not possible for us to every time to make that chart and every time to represent a corresponding number, but let me tell you, there are some conversion techniques, there are some conversion methods according to which we will convert a specific number in any number system. So that we are going to study from next video lecture. I hope you understood the numbers and how these numbers are formed, what is base or radix, and how to represent any number in a specific number system, and how to form numbers from it. So, and of course you have understood your syllabus. So again, welcome you all for your class 11th and all the best for your session. So that's it for today's video lecture. Hope to meet you in the next video lecture. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.